Hello there, Stampers. Happy Friday. Can you believe that we are only a week away from Christmas? It certainly doesn't feel like Christmas. Okay, we are tying up a bunch of loose ends today. I've got a bunch, I realized that I have a bunch of draws that I haven't done. So we're taking care of all of that today. And I've got a super fun card using some brand new product and some of our rainbow glimmer paper. I can't wait to share it with you. It's such a pretty card. Hopefully it comes across on the video. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Canada. And every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, I go live with a crafting project. And today we are going to use the Dragonfly Garden bundle. This is a bundle that will be available in the January to June mini catalog that starts on January 5th. Okay, but before we get started, every week I draw for the project that I create, unless it's a 3D project or a scrapbook page, that those things are a little bit more difficult to mail. And the way that you get entered to win the project for that week is by participating in the conversation, whether it's live or if you're watching the replay or on YouTube, everybody gets entered, okay? So I have neglected to draw for the last few weeks. So yesterday I took care of all of that. So let me announce the winners here. So for this card, which was from a few weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks, maybe even longer. It was a while ago, back in November. Mary Liz is the winner for that card. So I will put that in with the other things that I have for her. And then I did a tin with some tags in it. So obviously I can't mail the tags, or the tin, sorry, but the winner is going to get these 3 tags, and Betty Domes is the winner. So these are the 3 tags. So any of these videos, you can scroll back on my Facebook page, or you can check my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to find any of these videos. And then last week I did a gift box, and with a beautiful poinsettia on it, and I can't send the gift box, but that was an easy enough one that I could provide the flattened supplies. So all the die cut pieces are in here, and you can refer back to the video for assembly, and Kim Lewis is the winner for that, so I will pop that in the mail for her. Okay, so I'm all caught up. Now just a heads up, and you guys probably realize this, I will not be live next week because it's Christmas Day. So I will not be live next week. Yeah, but apart from that, I should be back the following week. I'm thinking, is the following week January 1st? It is January 1st. No, I won't be live that week either. But I might throw in an extra live maybe during the week. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how things go. Okay, again, just like last time, I am not seeing comments. I can see that lots of you are watching, but I can't see the comments. Okay, there we go. Okay, fixed it. All right. Good morning, Mary Liz and Susan and Kathy. All right. Oh, thanks for sharing, Susan. You're welcome, Kim. Okay, so we are going to make a fun rainbow card today, and it's going to be a slimline card. Okay, so I thought that I would share right from cutting. So I'm gonna cut right from an 8.5 by 11, and I just get my measurements here so I make sure I get them right. So the first thing I'm going to do, now a slimline card, the slimline cards that I make, because there are several different sizes, they measure, I think, 3.5 by 8.5. So what I'm going to do is I need a 7 by 8.5 inch card base. So because this is already 8.5 by 11, I'm going to leave this at 8.5 and rotate it so the long side is at the top, and I'm going to cut it at 7 inches. And then, so now I've got my 7 by 8.5. So, and we are at 7 inches, so I'm going to score it, move it over to the 3.5 inch mark, and score it at 3.5 inches. Okay, so that is going to be my card base. Now this leftover piece of white from my 8.5 by 11. I'm going to trim it down to 3 1/8 by 8 1/8. Okay, so those are the two pieces that I need from Whisper White. You also need some scraps of Whisper White for some stamping. And the other piece that I'm going to need is, I've gone ahead and cut this. I've got a piece of our beautiful rainbow glimmer paper. If you don't have this yet, this is a must-have. It is so beautiful, and I know it's not coming across very well on the video, but it's so beautifully and it's sparkly. And what I love about our new glimmer paper is it doesn't lose its glitter. Like when you use it, you don't end up with glitter everywhere. And it's a little bit lighter, so it punches nicely. You can die cut it. There's so many things that you can use. So this, or do with it. So this piece measures 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. And then I just cut a scrap. This is going to go on the inside of my card. Okay, so those are the pieces plus some Whisper White scraps that you'll need if you're recreating this card. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do some die cutting. So I'm going to take this layer of Whisper White. We'll set these pieces aside. And I'm going to take my stitched shapes dies. So for this particular card, we're going to use both squares and circles. So I am going to take the second largest square, and I'm going to take the second smallest circle. This one I'm going to set aside. I'll use that one afterwards. We're going to start with this one, and I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine. Now for this particular one, I could use my mini machine, but I'm going to choose to use my big machine because I just have a little bit more space to put it in at an angle. I've shared this tip before where if you're cutting anything with a straight edge, it works a little bit better if you can put it in at a slight angle. Okay, so if I was stamping an image and then die cutting it, it wouldn't matter. I could put the die at an angle, but because I want it lined up in a specific spot, it's going to have to go in, this is going to have to be lined up with the paper, so I'm going to have to put the paper at an angle. Okay, so let's bring in my magnetic platform here, and I'm going to position this so that it is evenly spaced. I gotta make sure I've got the right size here. Yeah, this is the right size, okay. Evenly spaced on both sides and at the top. Okay, and I'm just gonna eyeball it. I think that looks about right, and I wanna make sure it's straight. So you can see that it's at a slight angle. So the first bit that's going to go in is kind of this edge right here. And then I'll feed that through. And then I'm going to repeat it. So I'm not going to need this for this particular project, but you've got these beautiful stitched squares, so you don't want to throw those out. You'll save those for a different project. So now I'm going to line it up on the opposite end, again, evenly spaced on both sides and at the bottom. And again, putting it at an angle. And then I'll feed it through. And then I've got one last cut that I want to make, and that is going to be in the center between these two. So now I'm going to center it from side to side, but center it in between the cuts that I've already made. Okay, I think that looks about right. We'll just rotate it so it's at an angle. And then feed it through. So now we've got this beautiful frame, and that is what we are going to use. So we're not going to use these 3 squares that we've die cut. Okay, so now I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my mini machine. And the reason I'm going to use my mini machine is so that it gives me the opportunity to talk to you guys about it. So this machine will be available to customers beginning January 5th. And it is so adorable. I mean, look how tiny it is. It's perfect. I've been using it like crazy because it's just so convenient. So now I'm going to cut my circle on here just from a scrap of Whisper White. And for those of you who may not be aware, I'm actually giving one of these away this month. So for anybody who places a qualifying order of $100 before shipping and tax using this host code, you will get entered to win one of these that I will send to you in the new year. So after January 5th when it's available to order. All right, and that will be absolutely free. Okay. All right, so I will post all the information to that in the description afterwards. Okay, so now I've got all my pieces that I need. I'm gonna bring this back. Let's fold along this score line. Make it nice and crisp. I'm gonna do this on both sides. And then I'm going to add this. My plates are dirty, so my white cardstock is, just brush that off. Okay, so I'm gonna add this to this, but I want to use dimensionals. So I'm going to use our foam adhesive strips because this will make it nice and easy, and it'll provide me with a nice sturdy, some nice sturdy dimension. You can use a bunch of glue dots if you want. That will work as well if you don't have these. But I'm gonna put these all the way down and all the way across. Makes it nice and easy. Okay, we'll do a little bit here, and then we'll grab some pieces. I'm just gonna cut some from the edge here. Here, and then some at the top. No, that's a little bit too long. Tuck that there. Okay, so now we've got our dimensionals on there. We'll just peel off the backing, and we're going to add this to the center of our glimmer paper. So we'll see the glimmer paper peeking around the edges, but we'll also see it through the windows that we've cut. So you'll be able to see lots of that glimmer paper. You don't ever want to cover too much of this pretty paper up. It's just so stunning. And you can do this because the glimmer paper also has like blues and greens on it as well, just depending on where you cut it. So I wanted more of the yellows and pinks and purples. I know, which is odd for me because I don't use a lot of pink and purple. But I think it's just so pretty. But if you cut it closer to the bottom, because down here there's blues and greens, so you could have less of these colors and more of these colors. Okay, so this is gonna go right in the center here. Try to get it lined up. Okay, there we go. And then this is going to go straight onto our card base. And I'm going to use a fair bit of adhesive. I mean, doesn't that look pretty already? And we haven't even decorated it yet. Okay, so this should give you about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Just like that. We might as well add this to the inside. So this is just a 7/8 of an inch by 3.5 inch piece of glimmer paper, just to add a little bit of color on the inside. We're going to do something else on the inside as well. I have decided that for the year 2021, one of the things that I'm going to do intentionally is to decorate the inside and the envelopes for the cards that I make. Because I often will decorate, well, I mean, I make the outside and they're so beautiful, but I often don't do anything on the inside. So I really want that whatever I do on the outside to kind of carry over a little bit simpler. It doesn't have to be complicated. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the inside or on the envelope, but I want it to be pretty on both the inside and the outside. Okay, so now, like I said, we are using that Dragonfly Garden bundle. So this is a bundle that is part of a larger suite. This suite is called the Dandy Garden Suite, and this will be available to order to customers on January 5th. If you are a demonstrator or want to become a demonstrator, you are able to purchase this now as part of the pre-order. So it's got this beautiful stamp set, and then it's got a punch that has 2 different sized dragonflies on there. And there's actually another stamp set that is part of this suite. It's like I said, a larger suite, and it's called Dandelion Garden. I can't remember, but it's got some beautiful dies with it. I've been having fun playing with that. Okay, so I am going to use the greeting, "May good things grow all year long." I think this is the perfect card to kind of send somebody at the beginning of a year. It's almost, you could almost use it like a New Year's card. And I'm going to stamp this right in the center of my stitched circle. One of the great things about stamping on circles is it doesn't matter if it's straight, right? You can just rotate it. Okay, so I've got that. And then I'm going to take this dragonfly. So there's 2 dragonflies in here. There's one with a body that is not colored in, and then there's one with a body that is colored in. So I've chosen the one with the body that is colored in, and I'm going to stamp. I actually need 3 of these. So I'll stamp 2 on here. I think 2 will fit. And then I need a 3rd one. Let's bring that white cardstock scrap that I had. And we'll stamp a 3rd one. Okay. So we're going to come back to this because I'm going to show you a different way that you can use it as well. Okay, so we are going to color these in using Stampin' blends. So I'm actually just going to color 1 on camera, just so you don't have to watch me color 3, because the way I'm coloring it is going to take a little bit of time. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Dark Magenta Madness. Okay, so this is one of our in colors, our most recent in colors, and I'm just adding just a hint of that pink, almost like a feathered kind of, so not even, just some bits a little longer, some a little shorter, and I'm just using a very light hand, so just adding a little bit of the pink. So this is the dark, and then I'm going to go in and add a little bit of the light, and for this particular color there's not a huge difference, but I'm just pulling that color up just a little bit further. So I've chosen kind of some colors from the glimmer paper that I've got on here. Okay, so if you were using some more blues and greens, you could use some blues and greens in there. Okay, and now I'm going to pull in some pumpkin pie. Again, I've got light and dark, and I'm going to add the dark first, and I'm going to go over the pink just a little bit. I will blend it a little bit better as we go along, you'll see that. So So I'm just adding a little bit of the dark orange, and then I'll do some light orange, and this is where I'm going to go over kind of all of the colors that I've added so far. So you'll want to repeat this with all 3 of your dragonflies. But like I said, I'm not going to make you guys watch me color 3 of these exactly the same way. So by going over, it helps blend a little bit better. Okay. And then I'm going to use some daffodil. Again, start with the dark. Just add a hint of dark. Doesn't it look pretty? And then I'm going to use my light daffodil and again go over everything. And I'm going to color almost to the tip. The very tip of the wings, I'm just going to leave white. So how is everybody doing for their Christmas preparations? Has everybody done their shopping? Or does anybody have some shop? Oh, I got this big black blob there. Okay, let me see. Well, that didn't help. Okay, so again, I'll color all over everything, just leaving the tips. A little bit white, just a little bit of white. Okay. And then one last layer, and we gotta add a little bit more sparkle, right? Because the glimmer paper just isn't quite enough sparkle. And you can never have too much. So I'm using the clear Wink of Stella to just brush on a little bit more glimmer. And I'll bring this up a little closer so you guys can have a look at it, even with that black blob on there. Okay, so can you see that sparkle? It's so pretty, so pretty. Okay, and then the punch will punch this out. So we'll just line it up and punch it out. That gave us a little white butterfly as well, or not butterfly, dragonfly. We can maybe add that to our card as well. Okay, and then I've got the 2 other ones done. I'm gonna use my bone folder and curl up the wings just ever so, oh, I used a scrap here and I got some stamping on the back of this one. So I'm gonna curl up the wings just a little bit. And I love these dragonflies. They're so pretty. Okay, so now we can finish assembling our card. So I'm going to take this and add this to my card front. I'm going to use a little bit of flat adhesive, but then I'm also going to use some of these foam adhesive strips that I used, and I'm going to stick with these because I know that then it will be the same height. Okay, so this is going to go right here. So I'm going to add just a little piece right there. And maybe a little piece at the bottom here. Okay, so then I'll peel off the backing. And that should make it stick quite nicely. Just make sure that my words are straight. I think that looks good. Okay, and then we're going to take our dragonfly. I'm going to add one up here. You want to be a little bit careful to not have that extend past too far. We do have a little bit of room in the envelope, so there is a little bit, so it can extend a little bit if you want it to, but you don't want it to extend too far. Okay, so I'm going to just cut a little bit of this. And let's put a little bit of this adhesive on here as well. Add that right there. And then we're going to add another one right here. So for this one, I'm going to use some flat adhesive because it's mostly going to sit right on top of here. Oh, actually, I could probably tuck just a little bit there. Let's do that. Just a little piece there. There we go. Okay, so there's the outside of our card. And then I'm going to take this dragonfly and we're going to add it to the inside. And let's add this little guy as well since we punched it out. There we go. So there's the inside and there's the outside. Isn't that beautiful? Now let's do the envelope. So I've got a slimline envelope here, or if you're looking for them, you can find them in a stationery store. Most stationery stores carry them. They're number 9 sized envelopes. So I'm just going to take the dragonfly, I'm going to clean it because we're going to do something a little bit different. So I could stamp my dragonfly on here and color it in just like I did. When you do that, because the paper on an envelope is a little bit thinner, sometimes it will go through. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to slide a piece of cardboard or even a piece of cardstock in between here so that it doesn't go through to the back of the envelope. Okay, but we're going to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to take the dragonfly, and this time I'm going to use Stampin' Write markers. So our Stampin' Write markers are very different from our Stampin' Blends. Our Stampin' Blends are alcohol based, and so they're meant to color in, so you're meant to use them on paper. Our Stampin' Write markers, they are water based, so you can use them right on your rubber stamps. Okay, so we're gonna do kind of the same idea, except what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the color right to our stamp. So on the tips, I'm adding some Daffodil Delight. And then I'll go in with some orange. This is Pumpkin Pie. And then I'll do the rest of the wings with the Magenta Madness. So all the same colors that I used to color in the other dragonflies. And then I'll use a black Stampin' Write marker to do the body. Okay, and then because I added so many layers of color, that yellow could be somewhat dry. So I'm just gonna give it a huff. And then I'm gonna stamp once, huff, stamp again, huff, and stamp again. And look how pretty that looks. It looks like the dragonfly is in flight. So fun. So it repeats kind of that rainbow look and gives them a peek at what's to come on the inside of the card. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember that these products are not available. Well, the glimmer paper is available, but the Dragonfly bundle is not available until January 5th. Now, if you do not already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and would like a physical copy of the catalogs, just send me a private message with your mailing address and I'm happy to send one to you. For those of you who have shopped with me in the last 6 or so months, some of you will have received them in your mailbox yesterday. If you're local to me, I dropped them off yesterday. If you are in Edmonton, you should receive yours in your mailbox tomorrow because I'm driving around delivering tomorrow. And if you're not close enough, if you're too far away from me, those will go in the mail today. So you should receive them hopefully sometime next week. All right, so it'll give you some fun reading material over the holidays. Okay, so thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas. I will probably be back in my VIP group on Tuesday evening. But next Friday is Christmas, so I won't be here. But like I said, I will probably pop in for a Facebook Live sometime between Christmas and New Year's. All right, so Merry Christmas to all of you. Thanks so much for crafting with me today, and have a lovely weekend. Take care.